Hey guys, what's up? It's Zyflin here, and today I wanted to show you guys my Titania Umbral build simply because the Plague Star event is back, and Titania is one of those frames that is really good for taking down a high level Lephantis, like a Sortie level Lephantis with like a lot of armor, or just the Hemocyte in the Plague Star event. So I went ahead and I made a Umbral Titania build just simply by replacing the Vitality and the Intensify on the regular build for the Umbral version. So if we go ahead and we go to Equipment, and we go to Arsenal, you guys can take a look at the build. Now, we have a Fleeting Expertise, which is 2 from the top, and a Streamline maxed out. Primed Continuity on here as well, so that gives us the lowest drain per second possible on our 4th ability, going down to 1.25. Now, it's important to note that you can run a 1 from the top Fleeting on here, but a 2 from the top Fleeting also works. That way, you're going to get more duration, but you're going to have a little bit less efficiency. So you have 170% efficiency, but you also have 143% duration on here. And if we go ahead, we back out, we go to abilities, you'll see that the energy per second is still 1.25, but if we were to up the rank off the fleeting, it's going to stay stagnant at that 1.25. So here we go, swapping it around. You get that 1.25. Of course, the abilities cost a lot less, but it's really down to you which you would rather prefer, having more duration, like 10% more duration, or would you rather have that extra efficiency on there by 5%. I personally prefer the 10% duration because Titania is all about, putting your abilities on the enemies and then keeping those abilities up for as long as possible. So that is just, again, my opinion. And it also affects your Razor Wing Blitz, which is going to increase your DPS because this is a fire rate buff on your Dex Pixia, right? And it's also a movement speed buff. So the more duration you have on your build, the longer this is actually going to last for, which is pretty good. So we have Umbral Intensify on here for our Power Strength. Pair that with Power Drift for more Power Strength, for Umbral Vitality for your health, and that also benefits your Umbral Intensify as they both increase the stats of one another. Constitution is also on here for duration. Primed Flow for your maximum energy, which you're going to need because this is a drain over time ability that we're going to be using. And then Corrosive Projection is on here to strip away the armor of the Lephantis or the Hemocyte, right? And then another important thing as well is the Arcane Velocities. Now, this is a trick that is commonly done on Mesa, but you can do it with your Titania as well. Because, up in the fire rate of the Dex Pixia, they do have a low magazine capacity, but it is a pretty substantial DPS increase, at least in my opinion. Of course, you want to have a maxed out Arcane Velocity in this slot right here, but because I don't have one, then I'm just using a rank 2, but I should probably get on to getting a max rank 1, because then that's going to increase the DPS of my Mesa and my Titania and anything else that I want to use these on. But other than that, if we go ahead and we take a look at the Dex Pixia, this is the build that I have put together. Now, this one is usually more catered towards status, so if you're playing casually, build this for status. But because I'm going against the Hemocyte and I want to get as much damage per shot as possible, as much damage as possible per shot, whatever way you want to word that, you have Pathogen Rounds plus Convulsion, your 90%, and then I'm stacking up on my Corrosive by throwing on my Toxin here, and you could also throw on Augur Pact and Prime Heated Charge. Now, Heated Charge is going to give you more damage versus the lighter units, and because this is a 165% elemental mod, it's just going to give you more damage overall, which is really, really good. So that is basically that. This is what I'm using for the Hemocyte plus the Lephantis, but other than that, I would use a status normally, using like, what's it called here? High Voltage here instead of Convulsion, which is pretty awesome. And then for my Daiwada, the Daiwada is a weapon that I don't really use that much. I have True or Sacrificial Steel on there because why not? I just, figured sure. But you could build this for status, like all out if you like. But I just went ahead and made this weird build for it right here because, it's not something that I use that much, so I completely neglect this. I have a weird build for it. You can copy this if you like. I think it's pretty fun, but that is just, of course, my opinion. Otherwise, I built it for like Prime Fury plus, status. But because I didn't want to invest too much form into this, I just went ahead and threw on a crit build with Sacrificial Steel, and because it doesn't benefit from Blood Rush, that's why this is on here instead of Blood Rush, right? So yeah, other than that, I guess we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump in and we're going to kill the Hemocyte using Titania alone. I keep on calling her Octavia for some reason. It's probably because the names are so similar. I do have one of my friends here, Walid, and he's going to be switch teleport in the little drone for us, but you're basically going to get to see a run of what's it called? Plague Star. killing the Hemocytes. So what I'm going to be using is I'm going to be using Energizing Dash to get my energy back. And then once we get to like 412 energy or whatever my cap happens to be, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to use Razorwing Blitz, or our 4th ability, to kind of be speeding our way across the map and doing other stuff like that. So first we're going to go ahead, we're going to go into the cave. We're going to go ahead, get our mixture, and then we have to like defend the little defense thing. So the reason that Titania is kind of great for this is because her passive is also like a kind of like a little movement speed buff, but it's not really. It just kind of propels you forward with your bullet jumps, which is really cool, and it leaves like a little thing behind, like a little pixie dust thing, so your teammates can also make use of that as well. So, you know, she is a pretty good frame for just getting things done, you know, like going through things or going through areas pretty fast. So I kind of like her for that reason. But you also have the, of course, the augment, which is going to make it so, you know, you can move faster in your 4th ability as well. So if you're not familiar with Titania, basically you turn into a little pixie, and it's kind of like you're playing Arcwing, but you're a lot smaller and you're a lot more mobile and a lot more damaging as well. So now we have to go ahead and put the mixture in a little defense target all the way over here. So what we could do is I'm going to go ahead and use my Arcwing just to kind of like save as much time as possible, because I don't want to waste your time just like watching me defend some stuff. But just to kind of demonstrate how Titania works, we're going to go ahead. Okay, my friend Wally just put in a bunch of stuff there to make it so that the event's a little bit more difficult, in quotation marks. It's not really. But check this out. So we go into our 4th ability. We spam our other abilities, like any ability at all. And then we have increased fire rate, increased movement speed. And we also have Arcane Velocity proccing too. And then we completely just murder things that, you know, we should at. So they die extremely quickly. So this is what makes Titania like really, really good, because you're like just firing so quickly. It's kind of like having a very mobile mesa that you have to aim. So think of it kind of like Peacemaker, except it's not so good, kind of, I guess. But you know, it's still very damaging. Maybe not as damaging as Peacemaker, but you know, definitely getting there. But you know, all we have to do now is defend this mixture for like 2 minutes. So I'm probably gonna go ahead and edit this bit out, and then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get onto the killing of the Hemocytes and stuff like that. So yeah, just spam your 1, 2, 3 on pretty much any enemy, and then that's going to get your buff up, so you can spam it 3 times, like hit one ability 3 times in a row, and you see then that's going to cap out your Razorwing Blitz over there to 170%, and that's giving you your buffed fire rate and movement speed and stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to cut to the actual Hemocyte boss fight, and I'll show you how fast we melt him with Titania. Okay, so I just wanted to go ahead and correct myself on something that I said a little bit earlier in the video. I said that you have to cast an ability 3 times. You have to do it 4 times, because Razorwing Blitz stacks up 4 times, and that's going to give you your 170% extra fire rate and movement speed. So do it 4 times, not 3 times, and then you're going to get the entire fire rate buff. But like I said, just do that, and then you're basically going to be melting things. Just use your 1, 2, 3, and then 1. Usually I just spam my 1 on pretty much anything, but any of the free abilities that you cast is going to get off your buff, right? So literally anything. And then here you can see we have the Hemocyte, right? So these guys have like a damage cap, so you can't like damage them too much, and it's why you use like a crit weapon and stuff like that. But what you'll notice is whenever they like open their mouth or something, we can kind of just melt their head omega fast, right? So there's one of the heads gone. This one I might not kill, because he went down a little bit too early for my liking, but... And then let's go ahead and get the third. The only thing that you really have to manage is the ammo in your Dex Pixies, right? So you can't hold down the trigger for too long, but that's our first Hemocyte, like, dead in literally no time. And that goes even faster if you have the likes of, like, a Rhino Roar buff or something, like buffing up your damage as well. That can go extremely quick. Also, if you strip away the armor using 4 times Crucible Projection or something, totally fine as well, because that's going to make the enemy die a lot faster too, because they have no armor. But yeah, as you can see, we pretty much just melt the guy. Gonna go ahead and do it again, but make sure that you always have your Razorwing Blitz buff up, And you can also kind of like shoot him at weird angles as well. So, you know, if you want to get off as much damage as possible. So let's say this guy over here, if he opens up his mouth, I can kind of shoot through his gills at the back. And instead of like having to go all the way around to shoot him again. And then this guy can kind of just shoot the top of his head or the top of his mouth. And then that'll damage him too. So it's all about your positioning and stuff. And what you'll notice is I'm also running a little bit low on energy. So I'm just going to go out of that. Go into energizing dash. Hopefully my teammate's going to revive me. There he is. But let's just go ahead and shoot him with the Piranha. Piranha is also pretty good for melting him too. So like Titania is naturally pretty squishy too. It's all about like staying in the air, CCing enemies using your 1, 2, and 3 and stuff like that. You know, getting off buffs and things. So that's super important as well. Because basically what happens is you turn enemies into like little lamps and stuff. So, you know, your little pixies and stuff are attracted to them. So that guy right there, he is now a floaty boy. So some of the abilities on Titania are pretty hilarious, but it's a weird head bobbing animation right there. So much weird stuff happens in this event. It's actually wacky. So, but yeah, this guy's level 74. And I didn't have both my velocities off there because we're not critting enough. So like it would make sense like to mod this for crit kind of if you want those velocities to proc a lot, but I don't know. Personally, I just don't mod it for crit that much. You definitely could, but usually I mod them for status. Now the biggest deal with this guy is getting him to open his mouth because he's super slow. There we go. And also keeping your buffs up while his mouth is open is also kind of a big deal. So I still don't have... Okay, I do have the 80% of my velocity right now. But that's going to go away by the time he opens his mouth again, which is a pretty big deal. Oh, never mind. There we go. And he's dead. So that is that. And then I'm pretty sure we have one more Hemocyte to go after we kill some of the lighter mobs. And then that should be it. And then that should be the event done. We get our stand-in and stuff, so... These are pretty inaccurate as well. If you shoot them at a distance, it can kind of mess you up, but it's a really insane build or combo or whatever. I really enjoy it. Not that so there's the little lantern thing, which enemies will get attracted to. Not that Titania is like one of the best trims in the game, but definitely really good for taking on this big boy. So my teammate's down. I think he just revved himself. Yeah, he did. So, this guy's level 84, so he naturally has just a little bit more armor and more health. So he's a little bit harder to take down compared to the first initial one that we've seen. But you can still see that he still goes down like relatively quick, right? So I'll probably kill him by the time that our energy runs out again, which is really good. Just have to wait for him to open his mouth. That'd be nice. Like that. And he should be dead in the next burst. Maybe not. He's immune again. One more. You can do it. You can do it. Open up. Or don't. That's totally fine too. Please. Please. There you go. So that is your Hemocyte killed. And like I said, you can pretty much do the exact same thing in a Sortie environment. So like, let's say it's a augmented enemy armor Lephantis Sortie, level 100. You can use this build here or there as well. But I just thought like now would have been the best time to show that, simply because like it's gonna make killing the Hemocyte like a lot faster, right? So I don't know, that's just like my opinion. Bring someone who's bringing like a Roar Rhino or a Stump Rhino, so you can hold the Hemocyte in place and get that buff. So 2 Rhinos, a Loki, and a Titania would probably be the best script for that. So yeah, you bring a Loki to switch teleport the what's it called? The drone, and then you can bring the Roar Rhino for the buff, and then a Stump Rhino to freeze the Hemocyte whenever their mouth is open, and then the Titania just for the damage, and also get your teammates to bring like beam weapons like the Synapses or the Amprex or whatever, and then yeah, the guy will die pretty fast. So other than that, guys, that is going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button below. If you want to see more Warframe content from me, hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.